Hello everyone, I'm Trial. Welcome to the latest episode of Talk. So in this talk, I want to share about the NBA playoffs. So because for the past few months, we have WBC games and MLB seasons and CBPO seasons begin, and we have a long time we didn't share about the NBA situations, but I still follow the NBA, and now NBA's playoff is started from last week, and I just post the probability of winning championship of each NBA team on my Instagram. I just shows each team to win a championship. Also, which including the playing tournament teams. And also another one is the probability to go to the playoffs with the seed 7 to seed 10, which are the playing tournament teams. Okay, so I want to share about these two tables. Okay. Okay, so the first thing I want to discuss is the probability to go to the playoffs. The teams included the seeds 7 to 10 seeds in each division. Okay, so the first we'll talk about the West division. We have the Lakers, which is the 7th seed, and Timberwolves is 8th seed, and Pelicans is 9th seed, and Thunders in 10th seed. So we just talk about for Lakers. Actually, Lakers, they play very well in the second half of the season, because they made an outstanding. I can say that it is very outstanding training, because they got several players, and also they just trade Russell Westbrook to Utah Jazz, and Russell Westbrook just went to the Clippers, and they just have some good players to play for the second half of season. So they just from the bottom of West Division to the 7th seeds. And the 8th seed is Timberwolves. So Timberwolves actually they didn't play very well for this season, because they just because before a season they just got the Rudy Gobert with several players, which has an important role in the last season, but I think Rudy Gobert didn't have a good chemical interaction with the team, and also Rudy Gobert just hits the Kyle Anderson in the last game of the regular season, and McDaniels just punched the wall. And he just punched the wall, and he cannot play the playoffs. And they just got an 8th, and they got an 8th seed. And for 9th seed is Pelicans. Actually, Pelicans they play very well in the beginning of seasons. Yeah, because they got Ingram and Zion Williamson, and with several players, they got a good chemical interaction. But Zion Williamson got hurt again, so their performance just become worse and worse, and they got number 9 in the end of season. And number 10 is the Thunder, Oklahoma Thunder. Actually, they play very well in this season. Basically, the Thunder depends on the performance of SGA, Josh Giddey, and Dort, and they play very well in this season. And SGA just got over 30 points in this regular season. He played very well, and also for the power forward and center are called Jay Williams. Both of them are called Jay Williams. I think one is Jaden Williams and another one is Jalen Williams. I think they are a rookie or sophomore. I think so. So they just play very well in this season. And don't forget they have a Holmgren. They have a Holmgren. He didn't play in this season. Yeah, so we still can have a expectation for their next season. Okay, so this is the 7th seeds to 10th seeds. But the playing tournament, I think is played in last week, and the Lakers got a 7th seed and Timberwolves got the 8th seed. So the first game, Lakers versus Timberwolves. So Lakers just beat the Timberwolves and they got 7 seeds. And the second is Pelicans versus Thunders, and Thunders just beat the Pelicans. And also Thunders versus Timberwolves, but Timberwolves still win a game, so Timberwolves got 8 seeds. And for the East Conference, the 7th seed is Miami Heat, and the 8th seed is Atlanta Hawks, and 9th seed is Toronto Raptors, and the 10th seed is Chicago Bulls. Actually, these 4 teams, I think, maybe not a very strong team, but maybe just because the East Conference got more and more competitive, so these 4 teams just fall in this interval. So for a 7th seed is Miami Heat, but I think Miami Heat just compared with past 2 seasons, they only got 7 seeds in this season. Actually, it's not very good, but in these few years, their offensive just most of offensive just depends on Jimmy Butler and sometimes maybe Tyler Hero. So if Jimmy Butler didn't play very well in that game, the Miami Heat will be lose very easily. And another thing we can notice is that Jimmy Butler is become older, and there is no one player which can do both. Which can do both. Play a good performance and lead the team. Yeah, so I think he should spend some time finding another leader if Jimmy Butler became older. They need to find another leader to maintain their competitive. Okay, so the first game, Atlanta Hawks. Maybe they played just, I don't know. I think it's in our expectation. I think their level is in the middle part of East Conference. Yeah, and the other one is Toronto Raptors. Raptor is another disappointing team in this season because they just got 5th seed in that season, and also they just got and also they have some expected players. I think they have Scotty Barnes, which has a high potential player, which is a high potential player. I think he didn't play very well this season. Yeah, and I think from their guard to and forward to center, maybe I think all of them are. I think it's around 200 centimeters. Their height is around 200 centimeters. All the height of starters, I think, are very similar, and they have some potentials, and they have defense and offense. I think is not bad, but they have good defense. So they were expected to maybe not in the top of East, but I think is maybe they need to keep 4 or 5 seeds at least. But in this time, they only got 9th. It is very disappointed for most of fans. And another one is Chicago Bulls. For Chicago Bulls, because they just got Lonzo Ball still hurt, and the other players didn't have a good chemical interaction, and also they don't have a good bench. So, and last season they still have a 6th seed, but this time they only got 10th seeds. Well, not really good, but not too worse than our expected. I can only say that. Okay, so for the first, the first game in the Eastern playing tournament, the Hawks beats the Heats. Yeah, the Hawks played. They play not too well in that game, but Miami Heat didn't play well, actually, and so the Atlanta Hawks will get the 7th seeds, and the second game is Toronto Raptors versus Chicago Bulls. Actually, in that game, Raptors just leads the game in the beginning, but in the third quarter, Zach LaVine just had a very well performance. I think that he's got 16 points or 20 points, I forget, in that quarter, and just reverse the game and they still got a chance to go to the playoffs, and the Toronto Raptors became the first team to eliminate in this tournament. And the second game will be Miami Heat versus Chicago Bulls. So actually Chicago Bulls still play very well, but Jimmy Butler plays better. Yeah, and I think another one is Struz another guard is Struz is playing very well. So they still beat the Chicago Bulls to go to the playoffs. So finally, Miami Heat got the 8th seeds, and the Atlanta Hawks got the 7th seeds. Okay, so this is the situation about the playing tournament. Yeah, so and the next part I want to share is the situation of playoff and their probability to win a championship. So let me share the probability first. Okay. So the highest probability to win championship is Milwaukee Bucks got 11.6% to win the championship. And the second place is Boston Celtics. It got 10.83% to win the championship. And the third place is Denver Nuggets. It's got 10.03% to win the championship. And the fourth place, I think, is Phoenix Suns. It got 7.91% to win the championship. And the fifth place, in this case, is Memphis Grizzlies. It's got 7.58%. Yeah. So this is the top 5 teams to win the championship. Okay, so let me show each team to win the championship. So for the West Conference, so the first seed is Denver Nuggets. The championship will be 10.03%, and the second seed will be Memphis Grizzlies. It's got 7.58% to win championship, and the third seed is Sacramento Kings. They have 4.78% to win championship, and the fourth seed is Phoenix Suns. They got 7.91% to win championship, and the fifth seed is Los Angeles Clippers. They have 6.22% to win championship, and the sixth place is Golden State Warriors. They got 7% to win the championship. And the seventh seed is Los Angeles Lakers. They got 3.73% to win championship. And the eighth seed is Timberwolves. They got 2.11% to win the championship. And the ninth seed is and the other two is Pelicans and Thunders. The Pelicans, they only got 0.77%, and the Thunders only got 0.31%. So these two teams, and actually they just eliminate in playing tournament. And for the East Conference, the first seed is Milwaukee Bucks. It got 11.6% to win championship. And the second seed is Boston Celtics. They got 10.83%. And the third seed is 76ers. They have 6.77% to win championship. And the fourth seed is Cleveland Cavaliers. They got 6.33% to win championship. And the fifth seed is New York Knicks. They got 3.49% to win championship. And the sixth seed is Brooklyn Nets. They only got 3% to win championship. And the seventh seed is Atlanta Hawks. They only got almost 2% to win. 2% to win championship. And the eighth seed is Miami Heat. They got 4.03% to win championship. And the other two is Toronto Raptors and Chicago Bulls. And they got 1.06% and 0.46% respectively. And actually, these two teams are eliminating playing tournaments. So okay, we can and just compared with several past few years. Actually, in this year they got very similar. They got each team to win the championship. I think they are very close. They are very closer than the past few years, and I think that's a trend, because in this 2 to 3 years, actually, the level from each team actually is become closer. The highest probability is only 11.6, and the second one is 10.8, and the third place is 10%. So let me just share about the power ranking in first seeds to sixth seeds, and with each division. Okay, so for the Western Conference, the power ranking just based on the probability to win the championship. Okay, so the first place is Denver Nuggets, and also they got the first seeds in the West Conference, and not too many excuses. They have Nikola Jokic for center, and they got they have Jamal Murray, they have Michael Porter Jr. for small forward, and Aaron Gordon for power forward, and Caldwell Pope, I think, is for shooting guard. And this is a very strong starting player, and also they have and also their bench is also very competitive. Yeah. So this is why they can get the first place in the West Conference, but they still have some drawbacks. The first one, they can get the first seeds just because some of teams they just adjust relatively slower, like Golden State Warriors or Los Angeles Lakers, and even with Phoenix Suns, like these kind of teams. I think for Denver Nuggets, I think they still can beat them, but I think they don't have a strong confidence to beat them. And also for East Conference, Boston Celtics, they just went to the finals, and the Milwaukee Bucks, they just won the championship 2 years ago. And for Denver Nuggets, they just only went to the Western Championship 2 years ago. So I cannot give them a very strong credit for them to win the championship. But I think in this year they still have a highest chance to win the championship in the West Conference. Okay, so the second place I will give the Phoenix Suns. Although they only got the fourth seed in West Conference, but they just because Devin Booker got hurt, so he just absent for several games. And don't forget, they just got KD. They just got KD. They just got a KD from Brooklyn Nets, and their level just become more higher. So this year, Phoenix Suns is very important to win the championship. Yeah, but for KD, for Chris Paul, for Devin Booker, I think KD and Chris Paul, I think they are senior player, and KD have a hurt history, and Chris Paul become older, and Devin Booker is also got hurt in this season. So I think the healthy is an important issue for them, and also their chemical is also an important issue for them. And the third place, I think I will give the Memphis Grizzlies. Yeah, because even though Ja Morant absent for a few games, but Grizzlies still still very competitive. Shows they're competitive in this West Conference, and they just show their endurance and competitive since that season. So I need to believe they still have a competitive, and they still got a relatively high chance to win the championship. And the power ranking number 4, I will give Golden State Warriors. But Golden State Warriors, they are very weird in this season. In their home games, they play very well. I think it's one of the best team. They are one of the best team in their home game, but they just play very bad. They just play very bad in a away game, and we can say I think Warriors is the one of the worst game if they play the away game. But they just won the championship last year, and also they have some players which has very much experience, like Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, although Draymond Green, whether you like him or not, but he has very much experience to deal with the playoff season. So I need to believe them. They are still a very competitive team in the playoff season. And the number 5, I will go for Clippers. But that's just because they only got number 5 is just because Paul George just got hurt. He cannot play a playoff. But Kawhi Leonard, I think he has 2 FMVPs. I think he can still play very well based on his experience. And I think Russell Westbrook, I think, is very suitable for this team. I think actually plays not bad in the Clippers. So maybe not play so well, but they're still very competitive. And the 6th place, that will be Sacramento Kings. So although they got the 3rd seed in the season, but this is their first time to play the playoff season. They lack the experience, and also the other teams actually are very competitive. They just got different reasons so that they didn't play very well in regular seasons. But we still cannot underrate it about them. They just got the 3rd seed. They just got the 3rd seed in regular season. They have a they got. We cannot underrate them without any reason. We need to respect them. Okay, so number 7 and number 8 is the Lakers and Timberwolves. So I just explained in the beginning. So I didn't. So I will not explain too much in this part. But the only thing I want to say, the Lakers, I think we cannot underestimate about them. Actually I think they got one of the greatest team in the end of the season. Because they play very bad in the beginning of the season, so they only got a 7 seeds. So I think Grizzlies versus Lakers. I think Lakers have a probability to beat them, and it still have a not low probability to beat them. Yeah. Okay, so this is the West Conference, and for the East Conference, so my power ranking will be the first one will be Milwaukee Bucks. I just think about which one will be better. Yeah, I just think about the first one I will give to Bucks or Celtics. Because Celtics they play very well in the playoff season last year. They just got the Eastern Championship and play the championship. And just went to the championship game. Yeah. And also in the beginning of this season, Celtics also play very well. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, I think both leadership and their personal performance, I think they actually should become better. They are not very stable about their performance and their leadership. I think Jaylen Brown is a little bit better about the leadership. Yeah. But Jason Tatum has a higher potential to become a good basketball player, And so I'm very struggle about that. So finally, the Milwaukee Bucks just got a first season in the regular seasons, and they just win the championship 2 years ago. So I still have more confidence about Milwaukee Bucks more than Boston Celtics. But that's not too far. The difference is there's only one person difference, So the Milwaukee Bucks, and the second will be Boston Celtics, and the third place is 76ers. 76ers is, I don't know. Yeah, they are very strong in the regular season, but they always have different reasons, and they just lose in the playoff. And another thing you need to remember, their coach is Doc Rivers. I don't want to judge him, but he has many bad records to play in the playoff. So, and also for this year, they still have Milwaukee Bucks and Boston Celtics. I think these two teams are still better than them. So the 76ers, I think they're still very hard to play in the, not to say the championship game, not to say the finals. I think they're still very hard to go to the Eastern Finals, because they need to beat the Celtics in the second round. I think this is a very, very difficult challenges. But they still got a third place. And the fourth place will be Cleveland Cavaliers. Actually, they play very well this year. And I think this is their first time to go to the playoff season without LeBron. Yeah, so very, very congratulations to them, actually, and especially their management. Yeah, because when LeBron is in the Cavaliers, actually the team's roster just controlled by LeBron. The management is very hard to have a good training and to manage their rosters. They just need to let LeBron satisfy about. Yeah, so very congratulations to them. And actually, Cavaliers, they just went to the playing tournament last season, but they just got eliminated. This time they got Donovan Mitchell, and they finally went to the playoff season, and they got fourth seed. But I think they didn't have any. I think most of them didn't have any experience about the playoff, just like the Sacramento Kings. Yeah. So, but the other teams, I think, not too well. So they still got a number 4 in my power ranking, and the number 5, I think I will give to Miami Heat. And although Miami Heat didn't play very well in regular season this year, but for the past few years, they just play very well in the playoff season in past few years. And last year they just went to the Eastern Finals, and they played 7 games and just lose to Boston Celtics. And the 3 years ago they just went to the finals, and Jimmy Butler just played very well in the finals, but LeBron and AD are too strong in that year, so they just lose the finals. So they have very much experience in playoffs, and also Jimmy Butler is a good leader, and I think his personal performance maybe not too talented, but he's still a very strong player. So even they only got number 8 seeds in the playoff, and they need to play with Bucks in the first round. But I think Bucks still can win this series, but the Bucks will win this series very hard. Okay, so this is for number 5, and number 6 in my power ranking, I think, is New York Knicks. So for New York Knicks, they got Jalen Brunson. Actually, he plays very well, and they still have the Julius Randle. So for Julius Randle, he just played the All-Star game this year, just like 2 years ago. And 2 years ago they just played 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I actually forgot. But for that year, New York Knicks plays the playoff. I think it's got 4 or 5. I think it's 4 seeds in that season. Yeah. And also they got Jalen Brunson, and also they got Barrett and RJ Barrett. Yeah, RJ Barrett. I think they still can, but I don't think they can go to the second round. Yeah, but I think they still can play something in the first round. Okay, the 7th seed I think will be Brooklyn Nets. For Brooklyn Nets, because in the beginning of season they have KD and Kyrie and Ben Simmons, but Ben Simmons didn't play very well actually. So KD and KI, I think they play very well if they play together, and they just went to the top 2 seeds in the middle of season. But the management just trade them to the Suns and Mavericks respectively. So I think, but the Brooklyn Nets, they still have a very good 3D players and some good players, but not a star level, but maybe a good player. Yeah. So in the playoff games, Brooklyn Nets, it is very hard to win the games without any stars. In a team, if a team without a star or a core, it is very hard to win a game in the playoff season. So this is the problem about Brooklyn Nets. Okay, so the 8th seed is Atlanta Hawks. So I think, for Trae Young, I think he is not a good leader. he can score, he can assist, but he is not a leader. And although they just got a DeJounte Murray from Spurs in this season, but I think they didn't got a very good chemical reaction. So I think Atlanta Hawks, I think they are very hard to go to the second round. So actually, most of them are played 2 games in the first round right now. So for the current, Kings versus Warriors, Kings just win the 2 games. They just got 2-0 leads in the series. But that's an important thing is because Kings is home and Warriors is the away. You know, Warriors still cannot play a away game, and they just lose 2 games. And maybe Warriors will win in the next game because they just return to their home. Maybe, yeah, but I think Warriors is very dangerous in this series. And another series in Western is Clippers versus Suns. They just play a good game in the first game. You know, until the last minutes, they still only got a 1 shot difference. And I think the difference is only within 2 to 3 points in the last minutes. And the Clippers just defends the last offense from Suns, and they just win the first game. But today, Suns beat them, and the series become tight. I think this series is the most competitive series in the first round. I think the another 2 combination. Okay, the Nuggets versus Timberwolves. I think Nuggets will go to the second round. Maybe it is not too hard for them. Yeah, because for Timberwolves, they just show like a comedy, So I think Nuggets will not be very hard to go to the second round. And the other combination is Lakers versus Grizzlies. And Lakers just win the first game, so this is what I said. We cannot estimate the Lakers. Lakers actually is the best of team. It actually is one of the best team in the second part of season. So we cannot underestimate them. Okay, so maybe they'll play the second game tomorrow, I think, and so it will be a very hard challenges for Grizzlies. Yeah, so for the second round will be Nuggets versus the winner. It's a very hard probability to be Nuggets versus the winner of Suns or Clippers, and also this series in the second round, I think, is also very competitive. And before the first round, many experts and fans are expected Lakers and Warriors to go to the second rounds, and they just meet each and meet each other in the second round, and also very good. He also very competitive, and also will be very popular. But I think Warriors is very dangerous now, but not sure. Okay, so for the Eastern, the I think Celtics and Hawks. Celtics just 2-0 leads in the first round. I think this is not very hard for them to go to the second round. And also another team is 76ers versus Brooklyn Nets. Also 76ers is also got 2-0 in the first round. So the second round I think is very high probability is to Celtics versus 76ers. Yeah. But so this is why I don't think 76ers have a probability to go to the Eastern Finals or the finals. Because for me I don't think 76ers will beat the Celtics. And for another one is Bucks versus Heat. And the Heat will win the first game. And Giannis, I think he got hurt. If I'm right, yeah, I think he got hurt in the first game. So I think it's not very strange if the Heat beats the Bucks. For the 8 seeds to the second round. I think this will be happen in this year. Another one is Cavaliers and Knicks. I think they just got tied today, 1-1. So I think there will be also this series. I think this series is also competitive. Yeah, but for a level, the Suns and Clippers is more stronger than Cavaliers and Knicks. But I still think Cavaliers can go to the second rounds because they have Donovan Mitchell. Yeah. Bucks and Heat, I think Bucks still have a higher probability, maybe. Yeah. So this is the current situation about in the first round, and my analysis about each team of the playoff teams and the probability to win the championship. Okay, so I think this is the episode of my talk, and see you next time. Bye.